Meanwhile, Pakistan heads to the polls later today. Voters will cast their ballots in an election marred by violence and fraud allegations. Pakistan has suspended mobile phone services to strengthen security after the Islamic State claimed responsibility for two blasts that killed nearly 30 people last night at a political party office. The main contest is expected to be between Imran Khan-backed candidates whose party won the last national election and three-time Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Imran Khan has been jailed on corruption charges, which he denies. Polls close at around 5 p.m. and unofficial results are expected later tonight. The election is also held against the backdrop of a deep economic crisis. I spoke last month to the country's caretaker Prime Minister, who told me what the new government needs to do to revive the country's growth.
Well, it was a top priority to bring the economic revival and focus on the growth and the rest of the economic indicators. For the next government, I think so. If there has to be a clear principle which would be guiding their, or which should be guiding their behavior, is to earn more and spend less. Until and unless there is spending or the expenditure side of the government which needs a thorough rationalization, and the revenue generation needs to be focused. We need to revamp our taxation system. It is badly redundant. We need to bring back the non-documented economy into a documented economy and transform our state to a more viable economic entity.
For more on what to expect from Pakistan's elections, let's bring in Pramit Chaudhuri. He is practice head South Asia at Eurasia Group. He's live in Delhi for us. Pramit, first of all, the country's most popular candidate is locked up in jail, and the military establishment in Pakistan is more popular and more powerful than ever. Will these be free and fair elections?
Almost certainly not. Even in a country that's very used to military intervention and interference in their elections, this is easily one of the most blatant in terms of the degree of interference by the military. I wouldn't say the military is more popular than ever, but it's definitely as powerful as it always has been. But it has developed a deep animosity to the opposition leader, Imran Khan. The polling evidence indicates that he's by far the most popular candidate, probably 50 to 60% approval rating. And the result is the military has, as you've mentioned, not only jailed him, they've had over 140 cases thrown at him. They've ensured that his party candidates cannot run on their own party ballots. They have to file as independent candidates. A large number have been jailed, forced to leave the party or otherwise coerced. So the election results are very clear. The former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will almost certainly win, but he will come in as a remarkably illegitimate government as far as the broader public is concerned.
Is there any candidate that has the ability to push back on the military's domination of the democratic system?
No, I think that's both Sharif and Khan at various points in their political career have attempted to fight the army, and both of them, Sharif was thrown into exile last time he tried that, and had to strike a deal with the military and come back. Khan is now trying that and is facing the same problems. The issue, I think, is the earlier interview clip that you showed, is that Pakistan faces major structural problems in its economy, deep structural problems that require massive economic reforms that will inevitably be unpopular in the beginning. Privatization of assets, increases in taxes, cutting of subsidies, some of which has already been done under the IMF program, but it has to do much more. But unpopular reforms require high degrees of political capital legitimacy. The problem with being a prime minister in a rigged election is you don't have capital or legitimacy. So for Sharif, it'll be a huge problem to carry out those reforms given the manner in which he's come to power.
Pramit, can you please characterize the security situation on the ground for me? Overnight, we've seen this most recent attack, Islamic State claiming responsibility, but clearly the terror activity that we see in Pakistan is also a major cause for concern for the international community and for Pakistan's neighbors. Explain the dynamic on the ground right now.
So Pakistan faces two key security threats. Ironically, it is not India, which is its traditional rival in that area. It is Afghanistan in the north. The new Taliban regime has become exceedingly hostile to Pakistan. Roughly 500 Pakistan security men and army soldiers have been killed since the Taliban have come to power through border clashes. The Taliban are providing, in effect, safe haven assistance to affiliate the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which has carried out repeated terror attacks inside Pakistan, and about 1,500 civilian casualties have been incurred from those attacks so far. They have been so far confined to the border regions with Afghanistan. But a second threat is a number of interrelated insurgencies in the state of Balochistan, which borders on the western side in Iran. Those are smaller and have so far been less active, but at least one of them, the Jaish al-Adl, which has been carrying out attacks in Iran, seems to have formed an alliance with the Islamic State Khorasan province. And the ISKP has stepped up its activities both in Iran and Pakistan. And you saw the attack in Kerman city in Iran, where over 100 people were killed. And now these attacks that we're seeing in Pakistan now. So the terror threat is now spreading and is attracting more and more players into that region because Pakistan, I think, is perceived to be in a weak position, both economically and politically. But Pakistan, in effect, now is in a state, I would say, a state of quasi-war with its northern neighbor, Afghanistan, but is economically in a very weak condition to respond.